Off tonight, this former Charlotte Wells Fargo worker accused in a massive fraud scheme netting more than $900,000.
And prosecutors say the woman was a fraud analyst with the bank. Channel 9's government reporter Joe Bruno is live outside of the federal courthouse in Uptown for us tonight, where she faced a judge for the first time today. Joe.
Well, this is all PPP money, the money that was supposed to go to businesses to help them keep employees and prevent layoffs. Prosecutors say this Charlotte woman's scheme resulted in nearly $1 million going to ineligible borrowers. This is Tamika Harris. She's a fraud analyst now facing 17 fraud charges of her own. Prosecutors say the former Wells Fargo employee and current USAA contractor worked with her boyfriend and an employee of another bank to fraudulently obtain nearly $1 million in COVID-19 relief funds by submitting fraudulent PPP loan applications. That's money intended to help small businesses keep and retain employees during the pandemic. U.S. Attorney Dina King told me 11 people in our area alone have been charged with PPP fraud.
I think, unfortunately, it's pretty prevalent.
According to federal court documents, prosecutors say Harris would charge between $2,000 and $5,000 for her assistance in filling out false and fraudulent PPP loans. She's accused of creating counterfeit IRS forms for non-existent businesses and inflating the income for real ones. The indictment says she submitted more than 30 of those applications and documents, totaling more than $900,000. In federal court today, Harris was given bond. Each of the 17 counts she's facing carries up to 20 years in prison. King says it is important to pursue these cases to protect taxpayer money and send a message to others thinking of doing anything similar.
We want to send a message of deterrence out into the community to any individuals that would be fraudsters who think this as an easy way for them to get rich quick.
Her boyfriend, Cedric Lee Benton, is due in court tomorrow. Another suspect, Shavondra Michelle White, has not been arrested, but a warrant is out for her arrest. Genevieve.
And Joe, as you mentioned, her boyfriend is due in court tomorrow. What is he accused of doing?
Well, Benton has a prior conviction, and prosecutors say that he submitted 2 fraudulent PPP loan applications with fake or forged IRS forms or income he supposedly lost while he was in prison. Reporting live in Uptown Charlotte, I'm Joe Bruno, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Joe, thank you.
They do that is a lot of them, in a lot of cases, a lot of them get together with, I know that's not going to sound right, but they get together with legitimate financial lenders who are crooked, and that's who were approving. They was fast tracking that money. They didn't look into it. It's ridiculous.
Today is the deadline for a former beauty school owner to surrender to the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Janola Muskakui was convicted for making false statements to a federal agency in connection with an application for a CARES Act loan. She received over $700,000 in funding. Federal prosecutors say she used $250,000 for a down payment on the purchase of a home, mortgage payments, and payments to friends and family, as well as padding her retirement and personal investment accounts. She is expected to serve a year in prison and pay $250,000 in restitution. Tonight, as KSLA News 12's Dominique Ben reports, the U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Louisiana says more arrests like these are coming.
It was just a month ago that United States Attorney for the Western District of Louisiana, Brandon Brown, announced 24 people indicted on CARES Act fraud. And in an interview with KSLA, he says he's not done.
We've gotten great feedback from the community, great feedback out of Washington, and we're not done. We're not done. I promise you we're not done.
While the latest indictments for PPP fraud are allegedly connected to criminal activity, he says criminals are getting smarter in the way they fund activities.
Drug investigations, for example, they will get craftier on how they stay covert, how they clean their money.
And then there are those who fraudulently receive PPP money for greed.
We had individuals, that claim they had cattle farms, pig farms, hairdressing salons out of their houses, They sold hair. They had medical transport services, just home health type services, oil field services, you name it.
And Brown says he has a team of prosecutors combing through records. The goal is to reclaim taxpayer money.
They never had employees. They've never had a business type structure. And we have an investigator in-house that is looking at bank records every day, is looking at these applications every day, and every day referring cases to our criminal division or our civil division. So we're on it.
He's urging those who may have fraudulently obtained a loan to come forward before his office finds you. Brown says depending on your criminal history and the loan amount, his agency may be able to work something out like repayment or taking it out of your tax refund.
And I would hope they would come forward and talk to us about what's taking place, and we go from there. If they don't come forward, then stay tuned.
In Shreveport, Dominique Ben, KSLA News 12.
But they didn't do anything with it. They didn't buy nothing. Hell, they could have, with that money that they got from the feds, they could have went legitimate. They could have bought legitimate businesses, and did it right and paid them folks their money back. But a lot of them, they used it to buy drugs, alcohol, buy excessive amount of drugs to put on the streets to kill little kids, children, and grown folks too. But it is what it is, though. They ought to lock their ass up, and I mean lock their ass up.
Lowcountry man accused of trying to work the COVID-19 recovery system. Devontae Thames is now charged with multiple counts of conspiracy and fraud. Records show he may have been profiting, especially through a now defunct nonprofit. Our Caroline Balchunas spent the day working for you to investigate the potential ploy.
Federal investigators say Devontae Thames received a PPP loan last year totaling more than $400,000. They say he secured the loan through the Bernetta E. Thames Foundation, a nonprofit he founded in memory of his grandmother to help breast cancer survivors. According to the arrest affidavit, Thames worked with an unnamed South Florida resident to fraudulently secure the loan. Turns out, the charity was only active in South Carolina for about a year. The foundation was registered in February 2019. By May 2020, the charity status expired after failing to provide the state with financial records from its first year. Days later, according to an affidavit, a PPP loan application was submitted, and by the end of the month, the money was in the account of the foundation. The charity partnered with MUSC's Hollings Cancer Center for a fundraiser in June 2019. Today, an MUSC official told us they never heard back from the foundation after the event. I reached out to Thames this afternoon. He declined to comment on the charges and referred us to his lawyer. I contacted his lawyer, a public defender, who also told us no comment. Working for you, Caroline Balchunas, ABC News 4.
And we also received Thames' criminal background check from SLED moments ago. There is an arrest in 2014. Thames was charged with financial identity fraud. There are also traffic, drug, and weapon-related arrests from 2014 to 2018.
But yeah, and for that, they got this forgiveness program. It's so strange because there's a lot of people that I know a lot of people that got these loans. They got these loans, and obviously them people know that they didn't have a business, but they still forgave those loans. I don't understand that. It's people that got away with tons of money. They forgave the loans, but then a lot of people, they got $10,000, $20,000, and they popped them. They popped their ass. So there's no set amount, it really isn't.